Hi, I'm Trish, and I'm around about 6.5 weeks from extended tummy tuck with fleur-de-lis. So I thought I'll give everyone an update. I was meant to do this at 6 weeks, but it was a really busy, frantic day for me, and I just didn't get the time, didn't get the mental energy to do it. So here it is now. That would have been Thursday. It's Monday today. So here it is, a little bit late. Just wanted to give everyone an update as to how I'm going. I think I did my last one at 4 weeks. And of course, as usual, I've written a list. I don't like wearing my glasses when I do the videos because everything like reflects off them, but I can't see without them, so I apologise for that. What have we got? I'll start off with, look at my list, all messy. My diet and my weight I'm pretty happy with it because I've always worrying that I'm going to gain weight, and I have been, let's call it balance. I've been alternating between eating everything in the universe to just really not feeling hungry at all, or like yesterday I was hungry but didn't feel like eating. So I'll be completely honest, although I did break one of my teeth on Saturday night that had already been broken, had a temporary filling in, half the temporary filling fell out, so I was a bit loath to eat on that side, hurts to eat on this side, so I didn't really feel like eating, so all I really ate was scrambled eggs. There's the good bit of the day, and I don't know how many cookies, probably like 8 or 10 of those Woolies chocolate chip, nice soft mushy cookies, and so much coffee. I don't know how I didn't have a heart attack. That's a bad day. That's a bad day. And the day before I didn't eat much. I didn't feel like eating the day before that. I wasn't hungry. But then, yeah, and today I did have something to eat earlier, but I got myself an egg and bacon croissant, and I ate the egg and bacon and picked out a bit of the croissant. So, and I'm not hungry now. I'm planning on making some nice chicken noodle soup later. That's probably all I'm going to eat today. But, that makes up for the other days when I'm eating just like a beast all day. So my weight has remained pretty stable. It's been going between about 83.5, which was the surgery on the weight I was on the day of surgery, up to about 84.7 over the last 2 weeks. So it's stable. I do still have swelling. I know I still have swelling because my ribs haven't reappeared yet, and my lat band port hasn't reappeared yet. So that's my gauge to know that there is still swelling there. Although I look pretty amazing. I'll show you later. When I do show you, I'm going to show you my whole belly, and you'll see like the top of my mons. But I'm not going to pull my pants any lower because even I, as open as I am, I do have limits, and I've got some weird swelling going on down quite low, and my labia have become, this is something new for me. I'm not an innie anymore, I'm an outie, and for me that's just a little bit too much to be thrown out there on YouTube. So I don't know if that's just swelling or if that's what I've got now, but it looks okay. It's a little bit confronting for me because I've never seen it look like that before, but it's within the range of normal, so that's just something that I might have to get used to, or it might just be swelling because they say that the swelling works its way down, which is why a lot of women get the great swelling in the mons and then in the labia, and women have bruising and stuff as well. At least I don't have the bruising. I'm a little bit sore down there. Everything feels different. It looks different. It feels different. Everything just feels a lot tighter and stretched out, I guess. Like I'm brand new again. I'm not complaining about that, but it is an adjustment to get used to. Even how undies feel on my body. It's all very, very different. So I'm happy with all that. Just crossing stuff off here because otherwise I'll tell you twice because that's how my brains work. Something weird that has happened since I had my surgery. I haven't had a period, and I'm 6.5 weeks out now. I should have had 2 periods because I was due for a period only a couple of days after my surgery. Now, I'm not sure if that is just a consequence of the surgery making me miss a few periods, which can happen, Or, given my age, I'm 49, and my mum was done and dusted with menopause at 42. And up until about 3 weeks, I think, about 3 weeks before I had my surgery, I was on the pill for a few years before that. So if you can still go through menopause when you're on the pill, and you'll still get like a period, but it's not a period, it's a withdrawal bleed. So when I stopped taking the pill, I did have a bleed. Now I don't, and it was a little bit different to normal. I don't know if that was a period or a withdrawal bleed. So what's possibly happened, and what I'm hoping has happened, that while I was on the pill for those years that I went through menopause and I was just having withdrawal bleeds, now maybe I will never get a period again as long as I live, which would make sense because before that happened, I stocked up on so many boxes of tampons and pads and panty liners, but I have a daughter in her early 20s, so they're not going to go to waste. Pain-wise, I'm doing really well. I only have Panadol now if I'm going like for a big day out or whatever. Although having said that, I had to go to the dentist this morning, and I walked to my dentist because it's quicker to, I live so close, it's quicker to walk rather than trying to find a car park up at the hospital. So, you know, that's a 15-minute walk there, 15-minute walk back. I had to get an emergency appointment, so I had to wait. So I went for another walk for, I don't know, about half an hour. And I didn't take Panadol, and I was fine. My tummy felt a little bit tight, but as it turned out, I just needed to go to the toilet. So pain-wise, I'm having a lot of pain from my lap band port, which I've always had since I had my lap band put in. It's just now, because all my abs are tighter now, it's moved over more towards the centre. I have spoken to my GP about that, and she said that because everything's all disrupted and moved, and it's a very big surgery, that can happen, and it should settle, I imagine, back to my usual level of lap band port pain. So I'm not too worried about that. It's a pain in the ass, and it happens if I eat. Sometimes if I eat a lot, sometimes if I don't eat a lot. Sometimes I had it when I woke up this morning on an empty stomach because I ate, I didn't eat anything from about, 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. So but I do know that if I overeat, it's going to happen. So that's probably a good thing. It's like something that will stop me from overeating. Who am I kidding? It won't. Bed. I'm still having trouble rolling over in bed, but I'm still using my bed pole. And when I say trouble rolling over, it doesn't mean I can't roll over. It just means that I've got to be, and I can roll from my back to my sides and my sides to my back. That's fine. I've got to be mindful doing it, but that's fine. But if I want to lay on my tummy, and I can lay on my tummy now, I don't sleep on my tummy, but I can lay on my tummy. That's a bit more of an effort, but I can do it. It just feels really like I'm really being stretched out here, like above my belly button, and that feels weird in there, like it's stretching. But I know that's all normal, so that's fine. Emotionally, I've been really good. I was, if you've seen my breast reduction videos, you'll know that I wasn't after my breast reduction. I was up and down, up and down. That hasn't happened this time. The only sooking I've done has been very early on in the piece when I tried to make myself breakfast and I couldn't, and I thought I was going to faint, and I had a big sook in hospital. I was very frustrated because I couldn't move, and the nurse came in and found me crying pathetically, and she said, "Oh my dear, what's going on?" And I said, "I'm a very active person." So I was very pathetic then. The only other crying I've done has been over, TV shows, movies, ads, just other non-tummy tuck related shit. So that's been really nice. I did do some research on that, and when they remove all that skin and the excess, because there's fat there as well in that subcutaneous tissue, fat ties in with cortisol a lot, and cortisol is a stress hormone and it affects so many things. So maybe they've just removed that little factory that was making all that cortisol and making me over-emotional. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's also why I haven't got my periods. I don't know. That's just a theory that I've worked out talking to Dr. Google, and we all know how that goes. I went back to the gym. I was given the okay to go back to the gym at 4 weeks. at 4 weeks I didn't feel up to it. I was still having trouble walking around and stuff. So I waited another week. I went back to the gym at 5 weeks, just doing very easy on the treadmill, and I had to go easy because my daughter was there on the treadmill next to me, and as soon as she saw me trying to go above 2 kilometres an hour, which is just about standing still, she was frowning upon me. So I just waited until she went off to do her weights and stuff, and I put it up a little bit higher, and I did do a little bit of very light jogging for about 30 seconds at 6 kilometres an hour, which is really just a fast walk. So I've been back at the gym now for 2.5 weeks, and I'm back to doing like a very loose couch to 5K. I warm up and then I jog very, very slowly for 30 seconds and then walk for 1.5 minutes, and I do that for about 20 minutes and then I cool down. The last time I went to the gym, because I just wanted to see if I could do it, I did run at 9 kilometres an hour for 30 seconds. Did it, didn't die, nothing ripped open, so I'm pretty happy about that. I'm going to give it probably till Thursday. It's Monday today, so I'll get in one more gym session tomorrow doing that. Thursday, because I was allowed to from 6 weeks, and I'll be 7 weeks on Thursday, I'm going to start very light weights. And when I say light weights, because I'm still having trouble lifting a carton of milk, it's really just going to be little 1 kilo weights and just going through the motions of doing my weights. I'm not going to really be lifting anything, I'm just going to be moving the muscles, and I'll do that till I see my surgeon at 8 weeks, and then see if I can get the go-ahead to start doing a bit more than that, maybe a little bit of ab work, but I'll just go by what he says. I haven't lost as much fitness as I thought, and I'm a lot more mobile now. I went into the city last Thursday, so I was 6 weeks, and I did like a lot of walking around the city, just walking around and around and around and up and down all the little alleys and everything, taking photos. And I clocked up almost 10,000 steps that day, and I wasn't in pain, I wasn't hunched over, I was walking completely normally. I was able to keep up with the person that I went into the city with. So I felt like a normal person, and that was really, really great. I'm not taping anymore. I stopped taping all my incisions. It was actually a couple of days before I hit 6 weeks, and started massaging with the silicone. So I've been doing that, and I also stopped wearing the compression garments at 6 weeks. I was going to still wear some sort of compression during the day and then just nothing at night, but honestly, I went a day without that compression. I got a real taste for it, and I don't want to put it back on. So I've been going just in undies. It feels so weird just to wear undies. But when I go to the gym, I wear my Kmart Harry High pants, suck it all in undies, and I will do that for at least a couple of weeks. Or, if my surgeon says, do it till you're 3 months, or, whatever, I'll play it by ear. But for the moment, I feel a lot more secure wearing something at the gym. So I have started the massage with the silicone gel, and my wounds a lot of them feel very like rock hard, and I do still have swelling under some of the incisions. The incisions around my hips they're amazing. I'm predicting in a year or two that you won't even be able to see a scar around my hips. They're just so amazing. There's still a little bit of puckering down the bottom. I'm pretty confident that will sort itself out. I think that's okay. My mons is, it's a bit floppy for my liking. It looks fine. Front on it looks fine. Side on it looks fine. When I lay down, it looks amazing. But when I'm walking, I can feel it jiggling, and I don't like that. So I'm going to set... My surgeon can't do a monsplasty on me because I'm in the public system, but I'm going to see if he can do anything to help that. I don't think it can be pulled up anymore. It's vertical laxity. But as I said, it looks fine, but it's uncomfortable for me. I'm back to doing normal housework that I was doing, so like dishes and washing, and I can tidy up and all that sort of thing. I've still got some back pain. I'm getting a bit of upper back pain, but I think that's because when my tummy feels tight when I'm walking, I'm hunched over. I still get some lower back pain, but it's not as bad as it was a few weeks ago. Like when I went to the dentist today, because I got there early, I had to stand waiting for about 25 minutes, and my lower back was killing me. So that hasn't improved yet, but I know that will take time if that's going to improve at all, and I'm probably going to have to see a physio or osteopath or something to just get everything put back where it's meant to be. I last week went and had an ultrasound because I was worried that I had a seroma in my mons. I'm a bit disappointed about that, because if I'd had a seroma, they could have syringed it out, and the floppiness probably would have got worse, but there would have been a reason for it. There's not even any tissue swelling in my mons, but I have seromas and or hematomas pretty much all the way around all of my incisions. And I did ask the ultrasound guy if that's a normal part of healing, but I can't remember what he said. But I think it is, and I think that will all reabsorb on its own. But that makes sense, because I'm a little bit puffy in places around my incisions and rock hard in other places. So not too worried about that. Although my GP did send me a message asking me to make an appointment to go and see her for a follow-up about that, which I'm doing on Wednesday. So I'll make another video just about that. But I also... the reason I had the ultrasound is on the back of one of my incisions, and I'll show you. Although I think the swelling's gone down a bit, I've got a really big hematoma. Even the ultrasound guy said, this is a really big hematoma. And I said to him, well, what's big? And it turns out that it's 7.5 centimetres by 4.5 centimetres. So, that's kind of oblong. But if you squashed that and made it into a circle, that's somewhere between the size of a racquetball and a tennis ball. So it's picture the size of a tennis ball. It's pretty big. Now, normally with a hematoma, when you first get them, you can't just go and aspirate them straight away. You've got to wait. They congeal, so you can't aspirate them when they're congealed. They congeal, and then over a few weeks they liquefy. Then the surgeon can aspirate it. That's fine for a normal hematoma, but when I had the ultrasound done, I was almost 6 weeks, and this is like a recurring hematoma. It happened the first time when I was in hospital, coincidentally, just before I fainted, on day 3. My drains put out 250 ml of blood in like less than an hour, and then I got this big swelling on the side, and I knew it was there. I could feel it because I was laying on my side and I could feel this big lump there. But over the next couple of weeks, like when I went to see my surgeon for my 2-week post-op appointment, it was still there. It was big, it was swollen, and he said, yeah, this is just some swelling. It'll go down, it'll be fine, because I was worried that my waist was going to be uneven. It's not. And that did. It went down and my waist was symmetrical. There was no swelling, there was no bruising. And then after a little while, it came back again, had the big lump and the bruise came up. And then after a couple of weeks, it went down again, and then it come up again and had the bruising, the big lump, everything. So that indicates that there's a blood vessel in there somewhere that needs to be tied off or cauterised or whatever they do. Essentially, I've got a bleeder in there somewhere, so this is going to keep happening. I'm going to keep bleeding, swelling, bruising. My body will take care of it, absorb it all. It'll happen again. So I need to have some surgery to have that fixed. I'm not worried about that. He's probably just going to cut open the existing scar, find out what's bleeding, fix that up, stitch it up. Really, I'm not worried about that. Although my GP's worried because she wants to see me, but it's probably just a formality, and I'll say to her, I'm seeing my surgeon in a week. It can wait till then. So I think I've been told that I'm having the revision on my breasts sometime before the 25th of September. I'd say that he'll just say, look, we'll leave it till then, and we'll take it on with those surgeries. Or if it is urgent, he'll just bring it all forward and it'll all happen in, I don't know, early August or something. But I'm not worried about any of that. I've been told if it gets red, if it gets hot, if it gets swollen, if I get a fever, because hematomas can get infected, then it's a problem. But none of that's happening, so I'm not worried. I will, and I'll show you, because I've got got the ultrasound here. I love looking at ultrasounds. Never know what I'm looking at, but I like looking at them in case anyone is interested. See these lines going through here, that solid dark line there? That's a seroma under one of my incisions, and it's like that pretty much all the way around. Now, you can see that it's a solid black line. That's a seroma. A hematoma looks different because, let me find a small one. You see this one down here, how that's got crap in the middle of it? That's a hematoma. Hematomas have crap in the middle of them, apparently. Now you can see all those dark patches on all those pictures there. They're all my small hematomas and seromas. I looked at this picture first, looking for my big hematoma, and I was looking at these pictures, you know, like in the top row, they're the ones that are dark with crap in the middle of them. And I was looking, and I was looking in the dark patch, and I'm thinking, where's the hematoma in there? And then I realised that is the hematoma. So if you compare that to these smaller ones here on this page, which are along my incision lines, to this monster here, you can see just how big that hematoma is. The fun bit, I'll show you how my incisions look today. Get everything down. I had to put a singlet under these undies because they've got lace on them, and that was irritating my wound. So, oh, I should warn you, getting my mons out a little bit. Now, that's my vertical scar. It actually does go up here, but it's all fine. I've got swelling in there, and I think I've got a spitting stitch coming out up there. I can't wait to pull that out. It's a little bit sore, but it's all right. That's my beautiful belly button that is starting to indent a little bit now. Indent, I should say. It's all very nice. Very rock hard down there. That feels all right. That's a bit squidgy and swollen in there. And that's still a bit jiggly. But look at that T-junction there. Hope you can see it. Nothing opened up there. I had like a tiny little hole. But that's just beautiful. And that's where you get problems. That there, that's a little bit puffy there. I don't know if that's something that needs revision, or if it's a bit of a seroma in there, or if it'll just sort itself out. That's still a bit puckered through there. I know that will sort itself out. That's a seroma in there, that squidginess. Now that's quite dry. I'm going to have to start moisturising it, not just silicone. And that's around there. That looks pretty good, I think. Under there, it's a little bit hard. I think that might be a little bit of fat necrosis, but I've been massaging it and it's getting better. Still itchy. And that's around here. That's, look how nice that is. That's just beautiful. That again, that's a little bit of a seroma, or hematoma it might have been. I can't remember, one or the other. Now that's my hematoma there, which has gone down. The swelling has gone down, so it doesn't look as bad as it did. But I know it'll go down and it'll come back up again. It'll be like a big egg there. Feels all right. If I push on it, it hurts. It's a bit sharp, but it's okay. And I don't even know if it's bruised today because I didn't look at it well enough. But I'm very, very happy with how all that's looking, and I'm getting fairly flat. I did swell up a bit when I stopped wearing the compression, but apparently that happens for a few days. That's all very normal. What I did go through for a couple of weeks was just intense itching. So I found if I started moisturising and started taking, what did I take, Telfast during the day and a couple of Phenergan at night, and I only had to do that by the time I got that mix right. I did that for about a week, and when I stopped taking the Phenergan at night, I couldn't sleep. I went, I think, 3 nights without sleeping, and I thought this is ridiculous, so I took it to Mazepam only for one night, and that just reset everything, and I've been sleeping like a baby since. Didn't sleep too good last night because I had to go to the dentist today, broken tooth. Very, very anxious, but other than that, I've been sleeping really well. Last thing I wanted to talk about, and the only reason, because I find this a little bit awkward, but I've seen this question come up, and ladies have this discussion enough times in tummy tuck groups to know that it is something that people want to know. It's about sex. Now, I, at 6 weeks, had the opportunity to get back in the saddle, so to speak, and I'll be straight up honest. I hadn't had sex in over 3.5 years. I hadn't had sex since I was 20 kilos heavier and had all that loose skin and everything. So, and it was a good opportunity for me, so I took it. And I was so nervous, not just because it had been such a long time, but also because, you know, I've got a whole new body now and I've got a lot of scars, and I just didn't, I don't know, I was just very, very apprehensive about it because it was just going to be a whole new ball game. But everything went fine. Nothing hurt. I wasn't sore afterwards, like in my belly or anything. Having said that, it wasn't real energetic sex. It was nice, gentle sex. So I've got that out of the way, and I've seen a lot of people on my page posting things like making the assumption that now that I've lost all my weight and had my tummy tuck, that my self-esteem is better and my confidence is better and I'm happier. I'm the same happy that I've always been. Of course, I'm happy that I've had a tummy tuck and I've lost weight, but it hasn't made me a happier person. And to be honest, I was much more confident getting my kid off and jumping in the sack with someone when I was 160 kilos than what I was last week at, you know, like 83, 84 kilos, whatever I was, and having had all this surgery done. That was tough for me because that was something new and I didn't know, you know, how it was going to be taken. I didn't know if my body was going to work, you know, the same way. But all that confidence is back now because I've gotten that out of the way. And I was also curious before having the surgery, because when I had my lap band surgery, the first time I had an orgasm after that was a world of pain because all of my ab muscles contracted and it really, really hurt. And so I was worried about that happening again. That's not an issue. At 6 weeks, it's not an issue. I wouldn't have liked to test that one out at, you know, before 6 weeks. So that was all fine as well. And I think that's all. Now that I've told you about my sex life, probably not going to get it again for another 3 years. So, guess who forgot to charge her phone again before making a video? So it's recharged again now, and I only had about another 3 words to say. Now I can't remember what they were. Oh, yes. I'm posting a photo of, there's a photo I took before I had my surgery. It was back in September last year, of my belly and all my fat and my skin floating up in the bath. And then I patiently waited. And then I had a bath last night or the night before and took another photo without all of that skin and fat floating up. And it is, of all the comparison photos I've done so far, pre-tummy tuck, post-tummy tuck, this is by far my favourite. It just looks absolutely amazing. I've got a beautiful waistline on it. I'm so happy with how this has turned out. And it's not even the final result yet. So I'll put that at the end of the video and you can enjoy it too. And I'll make another video on Wednesday when we see what kind of a heart attack my GP has when she sees how big the hematoma is.